I am checking out Brooklyn. It's up on the coast, just near the Hawkesbury River, and it's the northmost suburb of Sydney. Just a fun fact there for you. So I'm setting out to basically explore the Brooklyn Dam and the Brooklyn Dam Trail and have a look what's around. So sit back and enjoy. Hopefully the weather holds out for me. It is overcast and a little bit rainy today, but this should be a relatively quick walk. So I've just parked up at the Brooklyn Dam Trail. This is the start of it. So it's all concreted just because it's such a steep incline. And I believe this section is the Hobo Hill track. So we'll see how we go getting to the top of this. I think this is meant to be the steepest section and then it levels out up the top, if I'm correct. But it is definitely a burn, and this trail is quite popular, so I've already seen one person overtake me, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more today. So the trail has leveled out a little bit at the top and turned into a dirt road, but the start of this with the concrete is definitely no joke. One of the steepest hills I've walked up for a long time, and I imagine when it rains that thing just turns into a river with all the concrete. So I'm going to continue up here. The dam itself shouldn't actually be too far, and there's a few trails that go off to the sides, and then it joins up with the Great North Walk. So that heads back through Ku-ring-gai National Park, back towards Sydney. And I think the other section or other end of this actually joins back towards Mullet Creek, which I covered in one of my other videos. So if you haven't seen that one, go check that out. If you can see the puddles everywhere, it's actually been raining the last week, pretty heavy on some days. So fingers crossed it doesn't rain in the next couple of hours. And the track's pretty well signposted, so there's a signpost here. Great North Walk this way. Brooklyn Station is where we came from, 1.3 kilometres, and then Cowan 10.7. So we're going to keep going this way, but we are not walking all the way to Cowan today. No idea what sensitive area means. So I have done a bit of research before I've come here, And if I'm right, you've got the power lines in front of us running across, and to the left of the power lines is this sign. And I'll show you in a minute the reason why there's all these signs, but it basically says collecting bushrock, native flora and fauna is prohibited. Surveillance cameras may be used in this park, and to report suspicious activity. So they're pretty big on these signs from the moment I entered, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So we're going to go down and follow this goat track, bush track, for 5 or 10 minutes, and just before we do, I might grab a stick because there is a few spiders here, which I don't know if you can see, right in front of us. So on this ledge, and it's just starting to rain, there's actually meant to be about 24 rock carvings. So this is, I believe, a line and a carving, but there's actually some fish, kangaroos and things like that etched into the rock. So I'm not even sure if I'll be able to find it, because everything's just absolutely wet. I think this is the way we want to go. And here we are. So I don't know how this is going to come up on the camera, but this is, I believe, one of the first ones. So it's actually a fish, and try and get a closer look at it. So I've actually found it. So I don't know if you can see the outlines here. It goes up, its head's here, fin there, and it comes back around here. So this is one of the Aboriginal rock carvings. It's even got 2 eyes. I don't know if you can hear it, nice crackle of the power lines, but just to the side of that, on this rock ledge, and you can see it, this one's really clear. This is another one of the engravings here. And they're all along this upper rock ledge or rock platform. So it might be a bit hard to see, but you've got basically the Brooklyn Bridge in the distance, and just behind that you've got Pete Island. So we're quite high up. The initial incline was intense, but once you're up here you kind of want a bit of a plateau. So definitely a good spot. Recommend checking it out. If you actually notice on the ground, there's actually a lot of broken branches, but they look intentionally placed, especially these ones. So obviously there's broken branches all on the rock. So I'm not sure if that's done intentionally to try and cover some engravings, or if they're just trying to make it a little bit more or less accessible. There's another circle up here. Don't know if you can see the outline. It's a bit hard, but just here. So I don't know if this is going to come up that well on the camera, but essentially this is one of the legs, this is the other leg, and it comes up here. There's a bit of a head and a hand coming out here, hand going there. So I'll try and show you. They are really difficult to spot. I walked straight past this one, and this is right next to the fish. So these are the Brooklyn Engravings, and I'll say first rediscovered in 1958 by F.D. McCarthy of the Hornsby Scouts, and catalogued at the time to basically include 24 different engravings. So I managed to find 4 or 5 out of 24. Found the man, the fish, 2 little portals. There's also some straight lines as well, which I showed on the way in. So the weather is starting to turn a little bit. So I'm going to head back the way we came and go check Brooklyn Dam out while it's not too rainy. So that's the reason for these signs. So you got to make sure, try not to step on them, don't make any markings, and don't take anything with you. So we're going to keep going under the power lines. So heading towards the dam now, and up on this ridge here, that's where the engravings were. I'm sure there's probably many more throughout this section that are hidden, and I know there are some around towards Cowan Bay and Jerusalem Bay. So if you keep following the Great North all the way for the 10Ks. So as I mentioned before, Brooklyn is not actually that far from Sydney. So I think it's about around 45 kilometres from the CBD. So it's pretty good that you come and hike this and it's so close to middle Sydney. On the downside, I can hear the freeway, the Sydney Newcastle freeway in the background, and from time to time you can hear the trains going past. So you're out there, but you're not really out there. And phone reception is excellent. So on one of these hills there is a massive tower as well. So reception, you've got no problems. You're not going to get stuck out here or stranded. And maps work, everything like that. So it's probably a good beginner's hike. Not too technical. So for this section, I'm following the Great North Walk. So just sticking to this trail and following it to the left. There are a lot of offshoots, so trails that go around, loop around and link up. Some of them are basically for national parks and track building, and others are for accessing the railway line, which runs probably a few hundred metres below us. So it's pretty hard to see, but there's actually a wrecked car up here, which looks like it's been buried. Looks like one of the front struts or something. Chrome bumpers, bits and pieces in the bush. So I'm getting closer to the dam now, and we're going down a little hill with a few washouts or wallops. But it's just down here, it's not too far at all. I do have a bit of a time restriction today, so all up I need to do this in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours max. And I can see the dam now, so I'll flip around and give you a look. Check this out. Brooklyn Dam. So on the other side you can see the dam wall. So this was constructed in 1884 to basically create the dam, and it was originally used for locomotives on the train line going through Brooklyn, basically to fuel the steam power, and it was in use, I believe, up until 1951 when diesel power and then eventually electric trains came in. And I believe the dam wall also used to be a bit higher, so I've seen reports it used to actually be much higher and it was dropped down for some reason. So at the bottom of the hill you can keep walking on here for the Great North Walk. Another signpost, and that goes towards Cowan. I think it's probably another 9 or 10 kilometres. And then this trail goes towards the campsite, which looks like it was closed off at some point. So not a bad campsite. You've got toilets. There's a picnic table over here. And a few little fire pits. The view of the dam. So possibly this is the section they were talking about. It used to be higher, so maybe it used to go all the way across. And you can actually walk on the dam wall. So It's pretty cool. There's some good advice here. Join a cult. Death Valley Collective. So a bit of history. The train line that runs through Brooklyn arrived in 1877, and then the dam behind us, or the wall that we're standing on, was basically created in 1884 to power the steam locomotives. So that's what the water was used for, and the journey by train at that time was about an hour, I believe. So this was a good point to resupply water for the steam engines. It's just below the dam. It does keep going behind me and does a loop and basically joins up with the Great North Trail. For today though, I'm going to start heading back because I want to quickly duck down to Dead Horse Bay and check that out. But today's mission was basically accomplished, so I wanted to make it to the dam, check the campsite out, and find the engravings, or what I could of them. So, success. I'm not going to do the full loop, just waste a bit of time. So, for now, I'm walking back through the first campsite, past the dam, and we'll go back down. So, it's not a bad campsite. You just have to carry everything in. So, you need a hiking tent. You probably couldn't bring much food, things like that. But I do see online a lot of people do camp there. There's a bit of rubbish around too, which isn't cool. So I don't know why people just throw orange peels and things like that on the side of the trail. At least put it into the bush or something. Try and hide it, be discreet. So I'm just going to walk back up a bit of a hill, back to the top, and then continue down to the Dead Horse Bay Trail. Shouldn't take too long, 15 minutes or so. So initially, when the rail line was built and the dam was in full use, I believe the train used to stop at Brooklyn and you have to get a ferry to Gosford at that point in time. And that was up to about 1889 when the Brooklyn Bridge was built. And looking online, there's a bit of controversy or mystery about where the name Brooklyn came from. Some people think it was named after the bridge builders, which was the Union Bridge Company of Brooklyn, New York. But that bridge was built in 1889, and there was records of this area referred to as Brooklyn many years prior to that, when the land was subdivided. So I've seen other people post that it was actually named after a Dutch town, Brooklyn, in the Netherlands earlier, and it's just a pure coincidence that the bridge company was also from Brooklyn. At least that's what I've read. So if you live around here or you happen to know a little bit on the subject, Drop something in the comments, let me know. I'm happy to be schooled on that, but that's what I could find from doing a bit of digging around and fact checking online, which is interesting. Check this cicada out. So it's actually eating an ant. I don't know if you can see it. It's a big one. I just heard it falling out of the tree. So this is just showing you exactly how steep this is. This camera is level. So 45 degrees easy. So just at the start of the guardrail, as you head up the hill, there's a track that goes off to the side, and this is the track to Dead Horse Bay. So it shouldn't be too long. I think it's about 5 minutes down here, but you can already see the beach and the water. So this is a youth club, or sailing club most likely. There's a few seats and dinghies in the corner. It's a pretty good spot. So this is Dead Horse Bay, and from what I can find out, no one really knows where the name came from, but you can probably take a guess. It was likely a dead horse. So some people say a dead horse washed down the Hawkesbury and landed on this beach, and that's how it got its name. Some other people actually think when they were building the Brooklyn Dam, which we just visited, they used a combination of horses and mules to carry all the supplies up there, and potentially one of those passed away and was brought down to the beach or the bay here just to avoid contamination and things like that. So either way, really cool spot, probably deserves a bit of a better name, and I'm not going to hang around too much. I'm going to head back to the car now and walk up this really steep hill. And to get down here, super steep, some big rocks. You have to come up and down. just trying to find this other tunnel, which is supposedly just up here, but there's a massive waterfall, so might not be able to access it with the rain. So I have actually managed to find it. It was at the top of the waterfall, which we just saw from below, and trying not to slip, but it goes down there. The cut is ringing my ears out. This is a pretty easy find, and I'll show you what it looks like now. A little bit dark. I'm not going to walk through the whole thing, but I'll get some shots of it. This spray paint here, so a little bit different vibe than the Mullet Creek tunnel. Have to be careful walking on this. And this goes down into that waterfall area, which is pretty nice. There's a few boards and stuff, so it looks like someone's been walking along here, across to the top maybe. And I'll see if I can get a closer look, see how slippery this is. It's a bit mossy. Should be fine. And that's the Brooklyn Dam Tunnel. Very cool. Similar style to Mullet Creek. This one's a little bit difficult to get to though. Chance of spray paint. So this is the Brooklyn Dam Tunnel. Runs under the railway line, drops down to a waterfall. So it's pretty impressive. It's got a bit of a better ending than Mullet Creek. And it's literally 2 minutes walk down a little track behind the rural fire brigade service. So I'm going to head back to the car now, but I think that's a wrap. Ticking off all the goals of this trip. So that's the Brooklyn Rural Fire Service or Rural Fire Brigade, and just parked on the other side of this fence there. It's literally 2 minutes off Brooklyn Road. Super easy to find. So that brings this video to a close. I've ticked off everything I wanted to see. Done the dam, the culvert or the tunnel, the engravings and Dead Horse Beach. So quite a successful trip in my opinion. This one, to find this tunnel, I didn't think I'd make it, but it's literally 2 minutes from where we parked the car. I'll see you in the next adventure. Cheers, bye.